Hi, my name's Eric Dion, aka Chicken Legs. I'm part of something called the Old Legs Tour. Every year, a bunch of us, we take time out of our busy lives to ride our mountain bikes to somewhere ridiculously far away. We ride on roads less traveled, looking to have fun, to do good, to do epic. We're called Old Legs because most of us are bloody old, and also because we ride to raise money for Zim's pensioners. Alas, the generation that built our Zimbabwe have had all their wealth and their pensions reduced to nothing by 30 years of economic disaster and 2 bouts of hyperinflation. We're talking teachers and engineers, artisans and farmers, especially the poor farmers. They've been left with nothing and entirely dependent upon the charity that they're too proud to ask for. On our first tour, 2018, we pedaled 3186 kilometers from Harare to Cape Town, through the Kalahari Desert, and through a town called Hot as Hell. Our oldest rider on that first tour was Bruce Fivers, age 72. We raised 71,000 for our charities. So when we got home, our friends accused us of being lazy for choosing a downhill destination. So, following year, we set our sights on a loftier mountain, Kilimanjaro in northern Tanzania, the world's tallest freestanding mountain. Our roads less traveled took us through Mukombora, once home to the world's largest minefield. We rode the length of Lake Malawi. We rode Tanzania from the bottom to the top. Al Wurdemeyer, age 70, was our senior man. We pedaled 2904 kilometers and we climbed an incredible 36,502 meters in just 26 riding days. We also raised 100 grand. In 2020, we set our sights on Namibia's Skeleton Coast, but were thwarted by COVID and closed borders. So we rode the lockdown tour instead, 3,000 kilometers around Zimbabwe's borders and through her wildest wilderness areas. There were 4 of us who pedaled through the Gona Reserve, the length of the Zambezi Valley from the Chawari, through Mana Pools to the Kariba Gorge. We rode through the Matusadona. We climbed the Chizarira Massifs, possibly the first ever on bicycles, and rode through Wanki National Park. We braved lions, elephants, and tsetse flies, and the Zambezi Escarpment more than once. The lockdown tour raised over 130,000. In 2021, we rode the Silverback Tour to Uganda in search of gorillas in the mist. Our route took us through Zambia's iconic Luangwa Valley. We followed Lake Tanganyika up as far as Ujiji, where Stanley said, Dr. Livingstone, I presume, and then on to the impenetrable forest, where we walked with the last of the mountain gorillas. Al Wurdemeyer, Marco Richards led us across the finish line, both of them aged 72. Because times for Zimbabwe's pensioners grow ever tougher, in 2022 we undertook 2 tours. We swapped bikes for kayaks and we paddled the Crocodile Tour, 360 kilometers from Milibisi to Kariba, through crocodile and hippo-infested waters, and into the waves and against the wind, because that was more epic. And then in July, we pedaled through some of Africa's most desolate and harshest landscapes to Swakopmund on the Skeleton Coast. We rode through deserts that bleak and that harsh that Bear Grylls would surely die if you dropped in there, even with a Bear Grylls knife. That much nothing shouldn't be epic, but it was. But even more epic was George Fletcher, our oldest rider, aged an incredible 82. We have loads of fun on our tours, and for sure we do epic in spades, but it is the do-good bit that gets us out of bed in the morning. Which brings us to the reason for this appeal, the Old Legs Medical Fund. We were inspired to set up the fund by an old chap who bled to death on his kitchen floor in the middle of Harare after a botched DIY amputation of a foot that went gangrenous because he couldn't afford the antibiotics that could have and would have saved his life. Alas, we were too late to save that old chap. But since then, we've helped and saved dozens of others. Our interventions are literally life-changing, literally life-saving, and range from emergency hernia ops to hip and knee replacements and everything in between. To make our donations go further, we've negotiated discounted rates with doctors and surgeons, but still we have a waiting list, almost as long as one of our tours. We need your help. If you donate, we can promise that every cent will be spent on doctors and medical bills, and not a red cent on salaries or admin expenses. The Old Legs is manned entirely by volunteers. And for donors living abroad, we can help facilitate tax-deductible certificates. Please help us, help others. And please also be invited to follow us on our next adventure in June 23, when we ride from Harare to Zanzibar on bicycles and kayaks. But please be warned, we ride slow like paint dries, and we paddle even slower.